Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to the winter campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game. We're just about set here to start on the first scenario of the campaign, One Last Job. First up, before we go into TTS, let's set the scene. One last job. You suppress a shiver in the cool spring air as you wait under a flickering street lamp. Tonight is the last night of your employ under Randall Tillinghast, a local curio dealer. The antiquarian's latest shipment from New Orleans has gone missing, and he has tasked you with its recovery. This is just the latest in a string of risky and often illicit errands for the cunning old man. Tonight's job should pay almost enough to satisfy the rest of your debt to Tillinghast. Both of your informants arrive on time. Ruby Standish, infamous jewel thief, approaches with a knowing smirk. The plucky reporter Andy Van Nortwick comes soon after. Tillinghast seems to draw the most eclectic mix of specialists for his favors. Between Ruby and Andy's accounts, you piece together a rough idea of the shipment's location. I tracked it from the warehouse in Southside to a few black market dealers in Rivertown. No luck, I'm afraid, Ruby says. Andy takes off his hat and wipes his brow. I nearly bought it in a firefight downtown. Sounds like the Sheldons and the O'Banions are at it again. The two gangs are in the midst of another turf war. Something about a load of missing hooch. It's possible the missing shipment was just scooped up with the gang's actual mark. If you're playing as Wendy Adams, we are not. You shiver as a chill wind stirs the air. Ruby smiles rakishly. What do you say to a little wager? Double or nothing. The first one to score the shipment gets it all. I hope you're ready to lose, she smirks. Before you can reply, she has already melted into the shadows. And we are all set. So now we can move into TTS. And we'll finish setting the scene here. Let's look at our agendas. First, we got Agenda 1A. Arkham Nightlife. The moon casts long shadows that reach across the ground like searching fingers. You've always seen the city as home, but tonight, Arkham feels like another place entirely. As a reaction, after the last clue is discovered from an Arkham location, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. One at a time, spawn each criminal enemy discarded this way at the nearest empty location. And we've got questioning the gangs. You need to find out what happened to Tillinghast's shipment. With the increased gang activity all over Rivertown, you think that checking in with the Sheldons and the O'Banions is the best place to start. This act gets +1 per investigator clue threshold, so that will be 4 clues that we need to advance. As an action, we can spend X clues to parlay. Discard an engaged criminal enemy with X remaining health at your location. Place 1 clue from the token pool on this act. Objective: at the end of the round, if the number of clues on this act equals or exceeds its clue threshold, advance. Once again, our clue threshold is 4. And any notes from me will be any comments you see from me in chat. Okay, let's try this again. Any comments you see in chat from me are notes I'm making to help keep everything straight. So we have got Nathaniel and Lucius all set to go. We went through them when we did the campaign intro last week. Well, I'll remind you of the tarot reading. We've got the Lover's 7 on its good side. When the game begins, each investigator searches their deck for an ally asset, adds it to their hand, and shuffles their deck. And we've got the Star 17 flipped on its bad side. After an investigator reveals a tentacle during a skill test, they must either take 1 damage or 1 horror. Okay, let's take a look at Tillinghast Esoterica, connected to the location to the right of it and vice versa. Tillinghast Esoterica, purveyor of sundry delights, exotic treasures, and wondrous baubles, and innumerable secrets. Recent ad in the Arkham Advertiser. That flips into Shroud of 3, 2 clues. Investigators at this location spend 1 per investigator clues as a group. In your campaign log, record the investigators discovered an alien language. Group limit once per game. And I think, actually I've got scratch paper right here. I'll be fine. Because I'm actually going through this campaign with my group right now as well. Which is, we hadn't been playing for a couple months, which is part of why I decided to do Drowned City as my winter campaign this year. So, I think we are all set. Let's go ahead and get opening hands set up. Nathaniel will be our lead investigator for this first scenario. So we will go up. I think I want to put opening hands down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, well, I'm not likely to want If It Bleeds, because I don't think there are any monsters coming in this scenario. So I'm going to mulligan that. I'll keep the mirror, though. I get the sense Interrogate's going to be a very strong card here. So we'll just pull one card. Okay, we've got Safeguard. That's also not nothing. So I'll put If It Bleeds back into the deck. And then we'll take a look at Lucius's starting hand. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, Nihilism can go away. This is before mulligans because I'm replacing a weakness. Okay, I don't think I want either. I've got a plan just yet. 1 and 2. Okay, I don't hate that. With that all being said, we are all set, so let's jump into our first investigation phase. Who is going to go first? I think going first is going to be Nathaniel. For action 1, he's going to spend 2 resources to play out his Safeguard. It's got a will on commit, but I'm playing it. As a reaction, after an investigator moves from your location to a connecting location, exhaust Safeguard to move to that location. Keep an eye out for any trouble, she told me. I rolled my eyes. There was always trouble. Action 2, we'll go ahead and play out the Mirror. Hallowed Mirror. Limit 1 per deck. Forced after it enters play, search your bonded cards for 3 copies of Soothing Melody. Add 1 to your hand and shuffle the other 2 into your deck. When Hallowed Mirror leaves play, find each of those copies of Soothing Melody, even if they're out of play, and remove them from the game. So I'll pull 1 copy of Soothing Melody into Nathaniel's hand. The other 2 are going into the deck. And then action 3, Nathaniel's going to take a resource. And that'll be it for Nathaniel. Over to Lucius. That's a 3 shroud location. I think for action 1, he's going to investigate. And he's going to commit deduction. Actually, I think he's going to investigate, yeah, using deduction. See if we can get that clue right away. Do I also want to use quick thinking? I think the answer to that is yes. So he is going to be up 4, 5, 6. He's up 3. Okay. The only thing that scares me in the bag is the tentacle from the looks of it. So let's go ahead, give the cast bag a good shuffle, and we'll draw. Elder Sign is +1 for each enemy at your location. That's effectively a +0. But it will get him both clues at the location. So I'll put those over here. And then we do get to take an action as if it was his turn, because that's what quick thinking does. Oh, I was going to ask, I had an interaction I wanted to ask about that. So let me go ahead and throw that in chat for a sec. Let me go ahead and put that into the Arkham Horror card game group. Actually, I'll deal with that after the video, after the stream's over. I was getting a little bit ahead of myself, and I was meaning to do that, but I'll do that later. Okay, so back to Lucius, who's got an action as if it was his turn. We're going to go ahead and do the action here to spend 2 clues. And we will record that we've discovered an alien language. Okay, got that jotted in the campaign log. For action 2, Lucius is going to move over to Miskatonic University. Nathaniel is going to exhaust Safeguard to move with him. And then we'll take a look at Miskatonic University. Miskatonic University is one of the most prestigious colleges in the Northeast. The university library is famous for its collection of occult books maintained by the esteemed Dr. Henry Armitage. And we'll flip that to find a Shroud of 4 clues. As an action, search the top 6 of your deck for a tome or spell card and add it to your hand. Shuffle your deck. The campus is quiet and lonely. Several of the buildings have been unlocked for students and faculty working late into the night. Then action 3, he is going to go ahead and investigate using burning the midnight oil. So he will gain 2 resources. He is even. That's a -2. That'll fail. Unfortunate, but no help for that. That's it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, nothing going on there. So now we do upkeep. And I really like that there's a button here. Oh, that reminds me. I forgot we had the Lover's 6 active. So hold on. Should have had an extra ally. I think Lucius probably would have gone and grabbed... I think he would have gone and grabbed Milan. I forgot about the Lovers. Okay. So now that we've got that sorted out, we'll do upkeep phase. And we find another ethereal slip. That is an action. Actually, 2 costs to play, lore, or will, and agility on commit. Choose a non-elite enemy at a revealed location up to 2 locations away. Swap places with that enemy. Mythos phase, we put our first Doom on the agenda. And then Nathaniel draws a gang soldier. Don't go sticking your nose where it don't belong, pal. Lucius will draw dissonant voices. He can't play assets or events. At the end of the round, discard dissonant voices. Alright, that's into the investigation phase. Nathaniel, I think, is going to see if he can take care of... I think we're going to see if he can take care of this gang soldier. The question is, do I want to use a... Actually, wait a second. Gets X difficulty where X is the chosen enemy's damage value. That's 1. He would be up 1. You know what? I'm going to have Lucius go first. This way, he's not playing any assets this turn anyway, and he can potentially reveal a location. So action 1, he's going to move over to Rivertown. The banks of the Miskatonic River are lined with docks, warehouses, and small shops in a district aptly named Rivertown. And we'll find Shroud of 1, 2 clues. There is something unsettling about the waters of the Miskatonic River tonight. It ripples and bubbles as though something is moving beneath the surface. Action 2, he's going to move up to Easttown. Actually, how does Downtown connect? Okay, Downtown connects via Northside, Rivertown, and Easttown. So I'm going to get a few more connection markers out. There we go. No, those need to be... There we go. Okay. At least I believe... No, actually there's no connection to Rivertown here. I thought there was. But there is not. So we'll drop that back in there. There is a connection to... There's a one-way connection, it looks like. And of course I can't... Actually, hold on. Maybe I can do it this way. So... Yeah, no, I can go into I can go into Downtown from Northside, but I can't go back. That's not what I want either. Hold on. So I probably want action. I probably want 2, but I want to turn it that way. There we go. Back to Easttown. The Easttown neighborhood, situated on the northern banks of the Miskatonic River, contains lower-class housing, the Arkham Police Station, and popular eateries like Velma's Diner. Oop. Hold on. There we go. Shroud of 2, 2 clues. While you're in Easttown, reduce the cost of each ally asset you play by 2. Action 3, Lucius is going to investigate. He's up 2. That's a +1. That'll get him a clue. All right. Nathaniel. Action 1, he's going to try to interrogate. Parlay, choose a humanoid enemy at your location and test Combat 3. This test gets +X difficulty, where X is the chosen enemy's damage value. If you succeed, discover 1 clue at your location and 1 clue at any other location. He was hiding something, but why? All right, he's at a combat of 5. 3 + 1 is 4, so Nathaniel is up 1. Tentacle touch, so he's got to take either 1 or 1. He's going to take a damage. All right. Action 2. He's going to try to punch the gang soldier and commit vicious blow to try to take him out. It's a bit of a waste, but it can take him out in 1 shot, up 4. A 0 will do it. And then action 3. Nathaniel is going to take a resource. Get ready to play Randall on his next turn. Alright, so that's it for the investigation phase. We go through the enemy phase. Nathaniel killed our gang soldier, and we do upkeep. Let's see, we find Glory. And Nathaniel will draw Forensic Aid Kit. Item, Tool, Science. Uses 4 supplies. As an action, spend a supply. For this investigation, you may use Agility instead of Lore, and you get +1 skill value. If you succeed and there's an exhausted enemy at your location, heal 1 Horror. Okay, I don't hate that. Dissonant Voices goes away. We go up to 2 Doom on the agenda, and Nathaniel finds another gang soldier. As for Lucius, he's caught in the crossfire. Put caught in the crossfire into your threat area. Forced, when damage is dealt to a criminal enemy at your location, test Lore or Agility 3. If you fail, reduce the damage dealt to that enemy by 1 and take 1 direct damage. Discard caught in the crossfire. Okay, so that blew through the Mythos phase, and now we're back into the investigation phase. Alright, so I think for action 1, we're going to make playing Milan Lucius's first order of business. He'll play Homeboy, Dr. Milan Christopher. +1 lore. After you successfully investigate, gain a resource. While I truly pray that this nightmare is just a singular abomination, I must admit that I am exhilarated by the possibility that this is but one specimen of a new genus. 1 health, 2 sanity on Soak. Action 2, he is going to investigate. He is at 5. He's at 5 to 2. He's up 3. Tentacle touched. He's got to take. He'll take a damage. Action 3. He's going to spend 2 resources to use one of his ethereal slips. Choose a non-elite enemy at a revealed location up to 2 locations away. Swap places with it. Now for my next trick. So Nathaniel's going to move back to Miskatonic University, and that'll dump the gang soldier up at Easttown. That'll do it for Lucius. Nathaniel is going to, for action 1, move over to Rivertown. Action 2, he's going to investigate, even though his book is not great. He's up 1. That's a +1, so Nathaniel will get a clue. A clue, not Rivertown. And action 3, he'll run it back because why not? Skull is -X. X is the number of criminal enemies in play to a maximum of 4. Well, that's still enough to pass him, so Nathaniel will get the last clue. Let's see, this takes... Okay, so we need X remaining health. Alright, that's it for Nathaniel. That's it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the gang soldier isn't an enemy, so we are doing upkeep phase. Nathaniel, finds Dendromorphosis. Put Dendromorphosis into play in your threat area. It can't leave play while it has no damage on it. As an action, as a fast action, take 1 direct damage to deal 1 damage to Dendromorphosis. Plants. And then Lucius will draw. Dreams of the Flood. Put it into play in your threat area. The first time you discover 1 or more clues during your turn, take a horror and shuffle Dreams of the Flood into your deck. Oh, that's delightful. That should be gone, by the way. Fantastic. All right, 3 Doom up on the agenda. Nathaniel will draw a gang informant. She's aloof. 1/1/3. Spawn nearest Arkham location with clues. Forced. After an investigator at gang informant's location discovers 1 or more clues while this enemy is ready, that investigator must either spend 3 resources or place 1 Doom on the current agenda. So she's at Rivertown. For Lucius, Rotting Remains. He's got to test Will 3. For each point he fails by, take a horror. A sickening display of gore causes you to retch. You're glad this wasn't you. All right, we are up 1. And that's for each point you fail by, so Lucius will take a horror. Sorry, I'm a little out of it. I had a bad night's sleep last night. Anyway, now we are into... We dealt with the Mythos phase. Now we're into the investigation phase. Let's see what we want to do here. Well, Nathaniel cleaned out Rivertown of clues. So I think he is going to... Let's see. Morning Jester. Just discard an engaged criminal enemy with X remaining health from your location. So action 1, he's actually going to engage the gang informant. Bad night's sleep last night. That's too bad. Yeah. I'm thinking right now it was probably triggered by the cucumber salad I did for Mystical Munchies yesterday. Maybe, I think it was just a combination of the cucumbers, the dill, the vinegar. I think everything just kind of came together in just the right way to trigger a brief heartburn, an indigestion flare-up. Let's see. So we need 1 health. So we need 1 clue, which fortunately we've got 2. So Nathaniel's going to spend 1 clue. He'll discard the gang informant, and that'll put a clue from the token pool. That'll put a clue from the token pool on the act. So there should be no clues. No, I want the... Hold on. Okay, so he should have 1. Lucius should have 1 as well. I think I removed the wrong thing. So I think what I actually need to do here is I need a clue from there. So I'm going to put those to the side. I think this is counting investigator clues because in a lot of cases that's the threshold rather than being clues on the current act. I kind of wish this would be a little bit smarter about that, but nothing I can do about that. So that was 2 actions for Nathaniel. Let's see. Fast action, he's going to take 1 direct damage to get rid of Dendromorphosis. And then action 3, he's going to move back over to Lucius, and that'll be his turn. Lucius, first time I discover a clue. Action 1, Lucius is going to investigate at Miskatonic University. That's a Shroud of 4. He's up 1. That's a 0, so he will discover a clue, but that will trigger Dreams of the Flood. So Lucius will take 1 horror and shuffle Dreams of the Flood back into his deck. Action 2, he's going to play out the Forensic Kit, which we saw earlier. Action 3, I think he's going to run back the same investigate. He's up 1. Skull is -1, so he will pass. He'll get the clue. He should also have 2 more resources from Milan, by the way. So I'll deal with that momentarily here as well. Alright, that's it for Lucius. That's it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the gang soldier isn't an enemy, so we are doing upkeep. Lucius will find if it bleeds. This deals with monster enemies, but I don't think we have too many monsters in this scenario. As for... Oop. I drew the wrong card. Hold on. I'll give that a quick shuffle. Lucius will draw. Another deduction. Okay, I'm not sorry to see that at all. Mythos phase, we're going up to 4 Doom on the agenda. Nathaniel will find Obscuring Fog. Oh joy, that gives our location +2 Shroud. After attached location is successfully investigated, discarded. And then Nathaniel will draw Tortured Visions. As an action, test Will 3. This test gets +2 difficulty if you have 3 or fewer cards in hand. If you fail, take 1 direct horror and discard a card at random from your hand. Fortunately, he doesn't have a... Actually, he does have 3 or few cards in hand. So that's a Will 5. Is there anything Nathaniel can do about that? I think he's just going to bite the bullet here. A -1 will cause him to fail, so he'll take a direct horror and discard a card at random from his hand. And he is losing Ethereal Slip. Okay, that's the card. That's the card I least minded losing from his hand. So that's very fortunate. Okay. So that'll bring us back to the investigation phase. That's a Shroud of 6 now. See, you're not using dragon cards for this. Guess I didn't like it more than TTS. No, I actually did a full video too, Jester, on looking at dragon cards for Arkham. But I've got enough misgivings about it. I didn't mind dragon cards for Marvel Champions, but I've got enough misgivings about it for Arkham, at least for how I run my campaigns in Arkham Horror, the card game, that I'm not sure dragon cards is going to give me what I want for a campaign in Arkham. Like I said, I did an entire video on poking around with dragon cards for Arkham, if you want to go check that out. So, moving back to business here. Let's see, we've got plenty of clues. I think Lucius would be a Shroud of... That's a Shroud of 6. You know what? Action 1, we're going to try to investigate here. We'll use the forensic kit, but he's going to stick with lore. So that'll give him... Actually, he's at 6 right now. 7. We'll use deduction to go to 8. He's up 2, trying to get both clues. That's a -1, so he will succeed. He'll get both clues. More importantly, that will also get rid of Obscuring Fog. Action 2. He's going to move up to north side. Nathaniel's going to exhaust Safeguard to move with him. North side. North side is a commercial district that contains many offices and factories, as well as the train station. Shroud of 3, 4 clues. Spend 5 resources as an action to gain 2 clues from the token pool, group limit once per game. In Northside, nothing gets people talking faster than a bit of dough. And for an investigate, Milan should have given him a resource. Action 3, he's going to investigate. He is up. Actually, he's going to use he's not going to use the forensic kit yet. He is up. Let's see, 5, 6... 2, 3. He's up 2. Another sign, +1 for each enemy at your location. But that's not the thing he's going to get to do. That will get him a clue, though. That'll be also the last of Lucius's actions. Over to Nathaniel, who's finally got a breather. He's going to play out Randall Cho, his signature ally, Concerned Brother. After Randall enters play, Either heal 3 damage or search your deck or discard pile for a weapon asset, play it, paying its cost, and shuffle your deck. You got to give this up, Nathaniel. Sooner or later, you're going to get yourself killed. We'll go into the deck because I know exactly what I'm looking for. Fortunately, they are a weapon and they're coming straight into play. As I will be playing out the boxing gloves. +1 combat while fighting. After I defeat an enemy, exhaust boxing gloves to search the top 6 of my deck for a spirit event and add it to my hand. Shuffle. So we'll give that a shuffle. Action 2, he's going to move over to downtown. And I forgot there were 2 downtowns. So we'll take that one off the table. The downtown area of Arkham is filled with government buildings, including City Hall. The First Bank of Arkham, Independence Square, and Arkham Asylum can also be found in this area. It's the busiest district in the city. And this will flip into Shroud of 3, 2 clues. As an action, gain 3 resources, limit once per game. We'll call this a loan. See, that was action 1 was to play Randall. Action 2 was to move in. Action 3, he is going to... He's going to move back. I'll probably have to play a Soothing Melody on Lucius next turn. That's it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, he's not a hunter, and we're doing upkeep. Counterpunch. Fast, play after an enemy attacks you, even if that attack was canceled. Fight, the attack targets the attacking enemy. As for Lucius, he will draw the Book of Verse, Uncommon Place book. Uses 1 inspiration. Replenish this inspiration the first time you discover a clue each round. After revealing cast tokens during the skill test, spend an inspiration. You get +1 skill value for the skill test. If you succeed by exactly 0, draw a card. Alright, we are into the Mythos phase. 5th Doom on the agenda. Nathaniel will draw. Tortured Visions. Oh joy. Lucius had this earlier. His test is a head 3. He'll commit if it bleeds to go up 2. Actually, no, he's even right now. So if it bleeds, puts him up 1. And that's where he'll test. Rune is -2, -4 instead if there's a criminal enemy or location. There is not, but that's still plenty for Nathaniel to fail the test. So he'll take a direct horror, and we'll have to discard a random card. And that's the one we're discarding. We're losing glory, which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. As for Lucius, he's got a swarm of rats on him. Fantastic. All right. Okay. Fortunately, Caught in the Crossfire doesn't affect criminal enemies. So I think Nathaniel... Are we going to go ahead and just take these rats out and be done with them? I think we are. So for action 1, Nathaniel is going to just punch the rats. He's up 5, but friendly fire is a thing, so I need to be aware of that. Elder Thing is -3. If we fail, we're not going to bother with that right now because we don't fail, which means the rats are dead. And then I will exhaust the boxing gloves to search the top 6 for a spirit event and add it to my hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oop. Hold on. Oh, did I pull that out of the... I think I pulled that out of my discard pile. Yeah, that should be in my discard pile. So 5 and 6. We're looking for a spirit event, but I'm almost 90% sure that we whiffed. No, we didn't, actually. We found Monster Slayer, which is the only one we can take. So I'll grab that. You played Arkham Horror Final Hour last night for the first time. Pretty neat game, you like it a lot. Cool and tough decisions you need to make. I actually had that game a while back, and I liked it, but the problem is we just went through everything in the box, and we were waiting for an expansion, but an expansion never came. So my group and I ended up eventually getting to a point of, okay, now what? Because we'd beaten all 3 ancient ones in the box. Let's see, that was action 1. Action 2, Nathaniel's going to take a resource. Action 3, he's going to take another resource. And that'll be it for Nathaniel. Lucius is going to work on clearing this location out of clues. He's going to play the Book of Verses. So it comes in with an inspiration. All right, now action 2, Lucius is going to investigate. A +1 will get him a clue. Action 3, he'll run it back. And that'll be enough for another clue. Milan should have given him 2 more resources. So we can definitely discard all of the gangsters we need. Anyway, that'll do it for investigation phase. Enemy phase, our gang soldier is still very much aloof. And we're doing upkeep. We've got another counterpunch for Nathaniel. For Lucius, he will find Burning the Midnight Oil. Pretty neat game. What day are you wanting to do the preview show? Probably before we start the list. We're starting on the 15th. Why don't we do it the Sunday before? So the Sunday, let's do it the Sunday evening before. That would be the, let me get my calendar up here. Got my iPad right here. So that would be next Sunday evening, I think. Yeah, next Sunday. Why don't we do the preview show then? Let's see, going into the Mythos phase, we're going up to our 6th Doom in play. Nathaniel will draw. Now he's caught in the crossfire too. Oh joy. And Lucius, end of negotiations. Attach it to the nearest criminal enemy. Limit 1 per enemy, which we can. So we will attach that to the gang soldier. Okay. Into the investigation phase. I think Lucius is going to go ahead and get that last clue. He's up 2. Rune is -2, so that'll get him the last clue. And a resource from Milan. 8 p.m., that would be good to have it on Sunday. So that'll be 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Yeah, that'll work. Let's see, and then that needs to be discard an engaged criminal enemy at your location. So that looks like either... So whoever's spending the clues has got to have them. All right, action 2. Lucius is going to move over to downtown. Nathaniel will exhaust Safeguard to move with him. And action 3. Lucius is going to try to get one of the clues here. So he's up 2. -2 will still get him a clue. All right, that is it for Lucius. Back over to Nathaniel. Action 1, that's a Shroud of 2. Don't I just have him move over, punch this gang soldier, and be done with it? I think so. Actually, before we do that, let's have Nathaniel play a Soothing Melody for Action 1. He's going to heal Lucius for 2 sanity. And that'll draw me a card. Et leur chanson se mêle au clair de lune, au calme clair de lune triste et beau. Paul Verlaine, Clair de Lune. That's my horrible attempt at French. Am I finally back to work tomorrow? I was actually back to work on Friday. Coming back, we've got a second wind. He'll play only as your first action. 1 cost to play. Will on commit. Heal 1 damage. 2 instead if you drew a treachery this round. Then draw 1 card. Let's see. Action 2. That's either a lore or agility test, and neither one of Nathaniel's of those stats is very good. Let's go with interrogate over here. That'll bring end of negotiations over as well. Action 3. He is going to try to parlay. So he's looking at a fight test of a 4 to try to discover 2 more clues, which he will get. So he'll discover a clue at his location and a clue at any other location. So he'll take a clue from here and a clue from downtown. Actually, that's a fast action, so he can actually spend the 2 clues right now to parlay with this gang soldier after an investigator parlays. So the gang soldier gets discarded. We put another clue on the act. As far as the end of negotiations, I'm going to rule that because the enemy didn't survive the parlay, that he's not going to be able to attack. So that's it for Nathaniel. That's it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, Nathaniel took care of our only enemy in play. Apparently a boxer was persuasive. Who knew? Thinking maybe Friday because you didn't see any videos, but then I thought maybe you were just busy. No, Friday was the day I was back to work. And I did get my next block, my payoff pitch replay in Friday night. So I did still get that done. Anyway, now we're into upkeep phase. Nathaniel finds an emergency cache that he's not completely cold to seeing. Lucius finds I've got a plan. And we are advancing the agenda. So we're going to reset that, and we're advancing. Wrong neighborhood. Moving quickly down the avenue to your next destination, you spot a suspicious-looking woman in a long coat step out from a nearby alley. You turn down a side street to avoid her, and nearly run into a man with a wicked scar running down his right cheek. He takes a drag from his cigarette, tosses it to the sidewalk, and glowers at you. You step back only to bump into the woman you saw before. She smiles. "Where you going, pal? We just want to talk." Spawn 1 set-aside gang enforcer enemy engaged with the investigator with the most clues. Shuffle the discard pile into the deck. So we need a gang enforcer. Here we go. So we'll spawn that, most likely engage. Oh yeah, that'll be engaged with Lucius all day long. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the deck. I'm not sure if the gang enforcer should be going into the deck. It doesn't look like it, though. Oh, actually, we should have been... That first clause... Okay, so we should have been discarding the enemies from the encounter deck. Or cards from the deck. So I'm going to put the gang enforcer in there. So I'm going to go ahead and deal with the last 2. I'll do that after this. So... Nathaniel will draw Drawn to Darkness. Hand size is reduced by 3 to a minimum of 1. When your turn ends, if you have no cards in hand, discard Drawn to Darkness. And Lucius will draw Tortured Visions again. Oh joy. So it's a Will 5 test, which a rune is definitely not going to fail him. Or definitely, Elder Thing is going to fail him, so he will take 1 direct horror and discard a card at random. There we go. Oop. And we are losing Burning the Midnight Oil. Alright, and then this chooses a okay, so discard the top 3 cards of the deck for the Elder Thing. Spawn a criminal enemy, which we have the Gang Soldier. That's engaged, okay. Okay. So now we'll spawn for the last 2 locations for emptying north side. 1, 2, 3. We got a Gang Soldier there. And for downtown, 1, 2, 3. Nope. Okay. So we're back to investigation phase. Back over to Lucius. 3 and 2. Okay. So we can actually discard. So yeah, we'll actually spend 3 clues to get rid of the Gang Enforcer. And another 2 to get rid of the Gang Soldier. So now that's going to give us... That'll give us 4 clues on the... Actually, that's at the end of the round. So those were fast actions. Okay. Action 1. I think we're basically sitting tight at this point. Action 1 is going to be to draw a card. Hyper Awareness. Action 2, we're going to play some Blackjack. 21 or bust. 1 at a time, reveal random tokens from the Chaos Bag until you choose to stop. Each bad symbol except the tentacle is a 5. The tentacle is a 10. An Elder Sign is a 1 or an 11. If the combined value of those tokens, ignoring plus or minus, is 18 or less, gain 4 resources. 19, gain 5. 20, gain 6. 21, gain 9. Alright, so let's start drawing tokens. 5. Oop. So that should be 6. Let me grab the skull out. Search will pretend the skull was part of it. So 6, 7. Oop. Okay, I just messed up the bag. So let's do this. I'm going to put everything back in and start again. Okay, here we go. 0, 5, 6, 6, 7, 12, 13, 23. We busted. It was worth a shot. Let's see, those were fast actions. So action 1 was that. Action 2 is going to be to play Hyper Awareness. I can spend a resource for a lore or agility test. Action 3, I will draw a card. Lockpicks is what we get, okay? All right. Nathaniel coming up next. Action 1, he's going to move over to downtown, basically to get them back together. Actually, what did he draw? He drew Down to Darkness. So actually, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to pretend I did this as his first action to play Second Wind instead. So 2 damage. Then he will draw a card. Another Soothing Melody. Action 2 would have been to move over. Action 3. Is anybody busted up that we need a soothing melody for? Lucius is busted up a little bit again, so we'll give him the soothing melody. And we've got another Monster Slayer, which I'm not sorry about seeing. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the gang soldier is not a hunter, and we do upkeep. We've got Greta Wagner, the Purifier. 5 cost to play, lore, will on commit, or combat. +1 combat. After you defeat an enemy, exhaust Greta Wagner and deal 1 damage to her. Discover a clue at your location. 3 health, 2 sanity on soak. As for Lucius, he is drawing Intel Report. 2 cost to play, 2 lore on commit, discover a clue at your location. When you play Intel Report, increase its cost by 2. Change discover 1 clue to 2 clues. When you play Intel Report, increase its cost by 2. Change at your location to at a location up to 2 connections away. Okay. And now we're going to go ahead and advance, which we probably should have done earlier because I wasn't paying attention. And we've got a new location. Let's see, questioning the locations at La Bella Luna. Downtown is connected to La Bella Luna. Revelation, put La Bella Luna into play. Spawn the set aside Naomi O'Banion enemy at La Bella Luna. Add the set aside Act 2A, the O'Banion gang, and Act 3A, face the music to the act deck, then advance to Act 2A. So the O'Banion gang is what we've got. And that puts Naomi at La Bella Luna. Okay. The O'Banions nicked... Let's see. The O'Banions nicked Tillingest's shipment. It's up to you to either talk Naomi into a deal or convince her it's not worth the trouble. Naomi O'Banion gains as an action, spend up to 4 resources parlay. Test lore or agility 5. This test gets -1 difficulty for each resource spent as part of this action's cost. For each point you succeed by, place 1 of your clues on Naomi O'Banion. Objective, when damage is placed on Naomi, advance. Or if there are 3 clues on Naomi, advance. That was the end of the round. Mythos phase gets our first Doom. Nathaniel. Oh, we actually have to discard his hand. He's got a hand size of 5. He's going to discard Greta. He's got it because of drawn to darkness. As a revelation, he's testing head 4. If he fails, choose and discard an asset he controls. If he can't, he takes 2 damage instead. Let's test down 1, I guess. Because I got no head I want to commit. That's going to be a fail. We will discard Safeguard. As for Lucius, Dissonant Voices, which he wasn't doing anyway. Alright, into the investigation phase. Let's see, we don't have the ability to parlay anymore. So for action 1, actually that is a 2-way connection. Why did I think it was a 1-way? Nope, that is a 2-way connection. Okay. Action 1 for Nathaniel. He's going to move into north side and make friends with a gang soldier. Action 2, he's going to attack 5, 6 to 2. He's up 4. Alright, placing at least 1 damage on it, but the question is how much. Because he's caught in the crossfire. So he's got to test lore or agility 3. Neither one of them is good, so he's going to test lore. Which he will pass, so we'll put the damage on the gang soldier. Action 3, he'll run it back. Elder Sign is +1. If the skill test is successful during an attack, return an event from your discard pile to your hand. And I believe we have an event there. We have... What do we want for an event here? Because we do get something back. I think I want a Soothing Melody back. But he's got to test lore again to see if he can actually keep the damage there. That was a... what is that? A lore... I think that was a lore... no, that was a lore... yeah, that was a lore 3. So he actually fails that, which means he takes the direct damage, but he discards Caught in the Crossfire. And that's it for Nathaniel. I definitely don't want Lucius to end... well, unless I think he can evade Naomi, which he's got an evasion of... he's got a 5 evade, so it's not completely ludicrous. Naomi, so alert, she can't move and gets +1 per investigator health. The first time she's evaded each round, ready her. Any investigator at her location may take 1 damage to prevent this. So he's going to move 1 to north side. Let's see, 2 into La Bella Luna. And that'll end up making him friends with Naomi. Action 3. Is that clues or resources? He can spend resources. He is going to try to evade her. He is up 1. Actually, he's going to go up 2 with hyper awareness. So yeah, up 2. +1 will succeed, but he's going to take a damage to prevent her from readying. Because of his special ability, actually, he evaded her. He did evade her by 2, so that'll give him a clue as well. Not sure we need clues for anything at this point, but can't hurt to have them. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the gang soldier does do a damage to Nathaniel. He's going to use a counterpunch against the gang soldier. He's at a 6 to a 2. Nathaniel is up 4. That's a -1. The gang soldier goes toodaloo. Alright, so the gang soldier is discarded. Counterpunch goes away. Alright, and we do upkeep. Let's see, something worth fighting for Nathaniel. Maybe assigned horror dealt to other investigators at your location. And Lucius will draw another hyper awareness. Second doom on the agenda, Nathaniel for an encounter will draw Rotting Remains. Test Will 3 for each point you fail by, take a horror. Do we have anything that can soak? Or not soak, commit. I will use something worth fighting for to get to even. Hey, we got there. For Lucius, he is drawing another gang informant that's aloof. Okay, after an investigator at gang informant's location discovers a clue while this enemy is ready, must either spend 3 resources or place a doom on the current agenda. Okay, I think for action 1, we'll have Nathaniel go first in the investigation phase. Action 1, he will move into the La Bella Luna. Action 2, he's going to make friends with a gang informant. Action 3, he's going to punch her with the boxing gloves. 6 to 1, he's up 5. A 0 will make her go bye-bye. And we are replenished, and we are going to search the top 6 for a spirit event. Oop. 1, 2, and whiff. Because whiffing is also a thing that can happen. That's it for Nathaniel. Lucius isn't playing anything this round anyway, so he is going to try to evade, going up 2. A 0 will succeed. He'll take another damage to prevent Naomi from readying. That will give him a clue. Then action 2, he's going to perform the test on the act. So he's going to spend Let's see. That is a... Right, that's a lore or agility 5 test. He is going to use his... He could use either one. He's going to use an agility... He's going to use lore, I think. And he's going to spend 3 resources to make it a lore 2 test. A 0 will put a... What is that? A clue on Naomi. Or for... Actually, that's for each point I succeed by. So I was at 5, I was up 3. So now I get to put 3 clues on Naomi. Which there are 3 clues on Naomi. And if there are 3 clues on her, we advance. Sheldon's come calling. There's a sound of a struggle at the entrance to the swanky lounge, followed by a muffled scream. Sadie Sheldon bursts into La Bella Luna, accompanied by several rough and tumble mooks. They crack their knuckles when they see you and advance at Sheldon's signal. Spawn the set-aside Sadie Sheldon and gang enforcer enemies at La Bella Luna. Okay, so that gang enforcer shouldn't have gone in the deck. Alright, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of Gang Soldier at La Bella Luna. So let's deal with all of that first. So Sadie Sheldon comes out as well. Okay, spawn the set aside Sadie Sheldon and Gang Enforcer at La Bella Luna. So we're going to have to we're going to have to spawn them around. Okay, I think I'm probably going to end up giving... So we actually have also triggered his special ability. Prey is most clues. So I think because of that, we are going to give him to... We'll give the Gang Enforcer to Lucius. And Sadie to Nathaniel. All right. If there's at least one clue on Naomi, place 2 damage on Sadie, which we do have 2. We have 3 clues on Naomi. So we put 2 damage on Sadie already, which is we're going to see as a little bit of a problem in just a minute. Okay, so move up to 2 clues from Naomi to any non-elite criminal enemies at La Bella Luna. We also need to get a gang soldier, which there was one in the discard pile. I just put him there. There he is. So also at La Bella Luna, but I am going to put a... So let's move... What did we say? Let's move up to 2 clues. Yep, so we're going to move 1 clue to the Gang Enforcer and another to the Gang Soldier. So any criminal enemies with clues on them gain aloof and disengage while there are clues. All right, face the music. You found yourself squarely in the middle of a gang war. Each criminal enemy with clues on it gains aloof. As an action, remove 1 clue from a criminal enemy at your location. Parlay. That enemy deals its damage to another enemy at your location. Objective. When the round ends, if there's at least 1 elite enemy in the victory display, advance. Okay, so... And that's as an action to do that. Well... That's a group action. Anybody can do that. So I think the way I want to do that is, deal 1 additional damage. Possibilities. Let's see. Action 3. Let's see, is that a victory location? That is a victory location. So actually, he is going to investigate there. He's up, let's see, 3, 4, 5. He is up. Actually, we could just change that to, actually, let's do this instead. Better idea. I'm going to spend 4 resources to play Intel Report, and I'm going to, because I'm increasing the cost by 2, I'm going to use the discover 2 clues at your location. Question. Oh, no, wait, never mind. I can't do that because because I have dissonant voices. Hold that thought. Unfortunately, I don't see a way to put more clues on criminal enemies. So actually, maybe I don't need it, because I can remove from a criminal enemy each. So Naomi is also aloof. So we could actually put the last 4 damage on Sadie that we need, which I think is probably what we're going to end up doing here momentarily. But I don't want them to land on me just yet. So action 3, we'll go ahead and try to discover a clue the long way. Or the normal way, we're up 2. That's a -3. All right, so we fail, which means we... Actually, wait a minute. Hold on. After revealing chaos tokens during a skill test, we can spend an inspiration, which we will. The Elder thing was a -3, so that brought us down to 2, but spending that brings us up to a 3, so we will succeed. Since we do succeed by 0, we will draw a card. Finding Leo De Luca. More than a little late to the party, my friend. But that gives him a resource. Oh, wait a minute. When damage is dealt to a criminal enemy at your location. Okay, so... Alright, well, that brings us out of the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the only enemy discarded in all that chaos that wasn't engaged is Sadie. So she's going to do 2 damage to Nathaniel. But Nathaniel is going to play a counterpunch, which is going to fight targeting the attacking enemy. He's targeting Sadie. He's at a 6 to a 4 on a fight test. He's up 2. Is there anything he wants, either one of them wants to commit? Lucius is going to give him, I've got a plan. So Nathaniel is up 3 now. Skull is -X. X is the number of criminal enemies in play to a maximum of 4. And I think we have one. Yep, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 criminals in play, so Nathaniel will actually fail that. That was irritating. Which also means we don't get the bonus from that. But that's unfortunate, so we are into upkeep phase. Nathaniel, ooh, a vicious blow is very welcome here. Nathaniel, or Lucius will draw quick thinking. Dissonant Voices goes away. Third Doom on the agenda. Nathaniel will draw Frozen in Fear. The first time he tries to move, fight, or evade costs 1 additional action. At the end of your turn, test Will 3. If you succeed, discard Frozen in Fear. Lucius, drawing Rotting Remains. Test Will 3. For each point you fail by, take a horror. He's at full strength here. Replenish that the first time you discover a clue. He's down 1. And that's where he's going to test. +1. We got there with a pull. Nicely done, Lucius. Okay. So, that'll bring us back to the investigation phase. Nathaniel's going to go first. He's going to spend 2 actions to use a Monster Slayer targeting Sadie. Dealing +1 damage, he's going to commit a vicious blow to the test. So he is up. He's looking at 5, 6 because of the boxing gloves, 7. Actually, no, not 7 because of vicious blow. He's up 3, trying to deal 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. He's up, okay, up 3, trying to deal 4 damage. That's a -1, so he will get there. So that will deal at least 3 damage to Sadie. The question is, can he put the 4th damage on because Lucius is still caught in the crossfire? Lucius has to test Lore or Agility 3. He's up 2. He's going to spend a resource into a lore test to go up 3. Actually, he's going to go up 4 because there's a rune in the bag. And that's a 0. So we put all 4 damage on Sadie, which will move Sadie up to the victory display. And we will advance. I think I forgot in Innsmouth just how much of a badass Nathaniel can be. But let's advance the agenda. Alright. Gang Wars. As the conflict erupts into outright bloodshed, you locate a small crate labeled Tillinghast Endeavors in a back room. Keeping low to the ground, you scamper through the fight and back out to the cold evening air. The sound of shattering glass and heavy blows emanates from the building behind you. "Ah, applesauce," says a voice behind you. A compact figure clad in black slides down a rappelling line and removes their mask. "I had a whole heist planned, you know. An informant. A calling card, even." Ruby says, tossing a yellow rose on the pavement. "I didn't think you could just walk in and ask politely, but, well, I guess you won fair and square." R1, page 5. Ruby was watching about the last hour or so that we were going for, right? I think the only polite thing was Nathaniel. I think the only polite thing that was happening in this scenario was Lucius walking in and talking to Naomi. But we are headed to R1. Resolution 1. You return to Tillinghast Esoterica with both a shipment and Ruby Standish. The jewel thief sulkily admits you beat her little wager and promises you a drink afterward, with no mention of the double or nothing she proposed. A silver bell rings as you step into the familiar musty curio shop. Within moments, Randall has the box open on his desk. Inside it is a small jade green idol wrapped in cloth. "I could not be more impressed," Tillinghast says. His eyes glitter as he appraises the green figurine. As you look at the idol, your head swims. Ruby passes the foyer of the shop nervously and addresses your employer sharply. "All right," Tillinghast. "We held up our end of the bargain. Where's our cut?" The shop door rings again as Andy returns. Randall seats himself behind his desk and peers at you, and the others over steepled fingers. "My suspicions have been confirmed. The relic is genuine. Well done. What if I told you I had an offer too good to refuse?" In your campaign log, record Ruby lost the bet. Each investigator earns victory X equal to the victory, the value of each card in the victory display. So that will be 1 because we beat up Sadie. 2, 3. 3 experience. I didn't want to wait for things to go sideways with Sadie. I probably should have had Lucius go first to try to get to... Actually, Lucius could have gotten those last 2 clues off. So I did leave an experience on the table. But I wanted to get things out before things went haywire. Hindsight, as they say. If the investigators discovered an ancient language, and we did, we discovered this glyph. I'll hold this up to... Actually, better idea. Let's see if the campaign guide for the Drowned City is in here. The campaign log is right here, but that's not what I'm looking for. Drowned City campaign guide. Here we go. So that is the glyph. So that's the glyph. I'm zoomed in as far as I can get. That's the glyph we've discovered. We're going to go... I'm going to pull out another sheet of scratch paper. Fortunately, these old scripts from Pino with Phoenix are so handy. Okay, that is a line with 2 slashes through it. And a dot right here. That translates to depths. Excuse me. Proceed to Interlude 1, an offer you can't refuse. Interlude 1, an offer you can't refuse. What you have recovered here is no mere curio. It was bought at great expense from a dealer in Egypt, who inherited it from a relative who bought it in Peking. You know how it goes. Randall smirks as you admire the ancient artifact. It is a vaguely humanoid figure, sitting in a stooped position with a heavy octopoid head and squid-like features. There is something malevolent in its expression, something unwholesome in the very way it was sculpted. You find it difficult to look away. If your investigator has agency, detective, or criminal. I don't think Lucius has any of those. Nathaniel might have criminal. Scholar Dreamer for Lucius. Criminal Warden. Okay, so Nathaniel does have criminal. Now I got to go back to the campaign guide, which is back here. All right. Randall's operatic tale of the artifact's acquisition seems needlessly contrived. You have every reason to believe the ancient statue was obtained through less than legitimate means. Sadly, this tells you nothing of the relic's true origins. This is a singular relic of prehistoric, dare I say, pre-human origins. Randall's voice breaks the spell. The rest of the eccentric's antiquarian's story boggles the mind. He describes a record of some ancient cosmic struggle, and how he believes that all of Earth is on the cusp of an apocalypse, much like the one that destroyed the statue's creator. In all of human history, in every separate mythology, there exists a story of a great flood, a cataclysm. There are legends of a great city-state, a bastion of knowledge and might that sank beneath the waves. Humankind has named it many things. Atlantis, Mu, Lemuria. But its true name, a name that predates history, is Relay. Through much painstaking research, and the assistance of a mad scholar named Gustav, I have pinpointed the relative coordinates of the ancient city, a stretch of ocean in the South Pacific where many sailing vessels have shipwrecked or disappeared with no explanation. Which brings me to my offer. I need someone bold and resourceful to lead an expedition to the ancient city. Someone to bring back evidence of its ancient knowledge, study its secrets, record its wonders. I need that person to be you. Randall says, looking to you, then to Ruby and Andy. Should you accept, I shall absolve you of any remaining debt and provide you enough money to retire comfortably. Very comfortably. And, of course, lend my assistance for your other concerns. Your mind wanders back to those other concerns. Each investigator must choose a different task from the following options on pages 7, 8, and 9 and read its text. See tasks on page 7. Once each investigator has chosen a task and read its corresponding entry, proceed to interlude 2 on page 9. Let's see, tasks. Okay. Let's go for... so looking at our options here. What do we want here? Is there recommended for Seeker? Yes, there is. What? I'm going to take a quick drink here before we look at the different tasks. Okay. The other thing I need... Oh, here are the tasks. Okay, so we'll bring these tasks over so I can move them to the respective investigator. For Nathaniel, he's probably going to take either... Actually, there are a couple of tasks he could take here. Let's see, is there... Okay, so good money. I'm not going to give him that. I think I'm going to give Nathaniel Toe the Line. Recommended for Guardian, Agency, Detective, Hunter, Police, or Veteran. Sometimes you wonder if your old associates still talk about you. You were a bright star rising through the ranks. There was nothing you couldn't do, until your sudden and ignominious fall from grace. Whatever favor you curried has certainly faded by now. Your former colleagues saw to it that you'd never come by honest work, so you turned to Tillinghast to make a living. He's often spoken of his connections in Arkham. You've always hoped he might help you get your old position back and restore your good name. In your campaign log, record Toe the Line as your investigator's task. Search the tasks encounter set for the Toe the Line permanent story asset and add it to your deck for the remainder of the campaign. So Toe the Line for Nathaniel. Here we go. Toe the Line. Task incomplete. When you take one or more damage, place 1 damage on Toe the Line as well. Forced when the game ends. If the amount of damage on this card equals or exceeds your maximum health, in your campaign log, mark 1 progress under this task. We'll bring that down to Nathaniel. As for Lucius, let's see. Lucius is going to take Plumb the Depths. You never meant to get involved with Randall, or the mob, or any of this. In fact, you cursed the line of inquiry that led you out past the edges of your safe old life and into this new one. But you can never suppress the inexorable itch to understand the world around you. Although you have been warned time and again that your curiosity would be the end of you, you can't deny the allure of the unknown. Randall has promised you all that and more. This job will make your career, put you on the map, if you can play your cards just right. In your campaign log, record Plumb the Depths as your investigator's task. And search tasks for Plumb the Depths and add it to your deck for the remainder of the campaign. Plumb the Depths. After you discover the last remaining clue at your location, remove 1 obsession from Plumb the Depths. When the game ends, if there are no obsessions on Plumb the Depths, in your campaign log, mark 1 progress under this task. Okay, so that tells me at least something I'm going to need for Lucius's upgrades. And we proceed to, so after that, we need to go to Interlude 2. You narrow your eyes at Randall. There's something he's not telling you. Some catch. There's always a catch with Tellingest. Just as there's always one more job to be done. You ask him what it is, and he sighs. I thought it was obvious, but this expedition is likely to be rather perilous, which is why I thought to entrust it to you. You have proven yourself to be quite resourceful, and as I said, I intend to reward you handsomely. The investigators must decide, choose one. Refuse, proceed to Interlude 3. Take his offer, skip to Interlude 4. Now, if I had had a scenario anything similar to what I had with the Innsmouth conspiracy 2 years ago, I might have refused. But given that we've got to make a good couple months of content, I'm going to take his offer. Whatever his reasons for burying the lead, the offer is too tempting to refuse. Ruby and Andy nod along with you in agreement. Tillingest's face breaks into a familiar smirk. How lovely. I had hoped you would say yes. Truly, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. I assure you, this will change everything. As after Andy negotiates for a comprehensive supply of film and Ruby ups her commission, Tillingest outlines the plan for the expedition. Tomorrow, a train will take you to San Francisco, where the Cassandra will sail you down to the provided coordinates in the South Pacific. There is an excited, almost childlike glee as the antiquarian outlines the details. I've sent supplies enough to last the entire expedition several months if needed. That said, be prepared for anything. Proceed to Interlude 2, Expedition to Relay. Interlude 2, Expedition to Relay. It is early evening when you first see the ancient city. You emerge from your cabin to see Andy and Ruby staring out at a jagged, bleak skyline off the starboard bow. The ancient city is a tangle of collapsed towers, labyrinthine burrows, and jagged paths that loop in on themselves like a rat's nest. Andy nearly drops his camera as a choppy wave lifts and then drops the nose of the ship with a sharp crash. You're seeing this. It's real. Tell me it's real, Andy says, furiously loading more film into his scuffed camera. You and the rest of the crew marvel at the mind-bending skyline with a mixture of awe and dread. Seawater pours from the mouths of the alien effigies and alien sepulchres. Strange ephemeral shapes flit in and out of the obsidian canyons of Relay. It is unlike anything built by human hands. You catch yourself saying the city's name under your breath. Even the unflappable Ruby seems dumbstruck as the ship sails past a ring of rocky shoals into a broad cove. After making landfall, the expedition camps on the black-sanded beach at the foot of a towering obsidian spire. Menacing, gargantuan doors set in the tower's base loom like silent sentinels. There is hardly a word between the expedition members on the first night. Andy spends the evening poring over an obsidian stone with glowing glyphs, while Ruby lovingly reorganizes her tool bag. In the morning, you discuss which route to take, telling us it has provided enough diving equipment, climbing gear, and rations to explore inland for at least 2 weeks before you need to return to the beach. Andy and Ruby are at odds, however. Andy wants to follow the coastline to the ruined western wall near the mouth of the cove. Ruby, perennially comfortable with heights, wants to take the skyline to map the city. She points excitedly at a distant, cathedral-like structure further inland. Decide on which character you want to follow. Depending on which character you want to follow, you will either explore the ancient city from west to east or east to west. You must decide as a group. Follow Andy along the shoreline to the western wall. Proceed to western expedition. Accompany Ruby through the obsidian canyons toward a massive inland structure. Skip to eastern expedition. My game group went west. So here on the channel, we're going to go east so we can see how that works and see how the campaign is different. So skip to Eastern Expedition. Normally, I wouldn't be running these two campaigns at the exact same time. Normally, I wouldn't run two campaigns at the same time. Normally, I wouldn't have a Drowned City with my game group and then the same campaign on the channel. There are two reasons I'm making an exception, though. First reason is because it's been a while since we've played. The second reason is because there's two paths that we can make. The other actually, I might have been warm to doing this with Hemlock Vale and Scarlet Keys as well. I'm actually surprised at how few people liked Scarlet Keys. I didn't mind Scarlet Keys, but we're getting off track. Eastern Expedition. Since you landed, you haven't been able to take your eyes off of the phantasmagoric skyline. After agreeing to accompany her eastward, you catch the faintest hint of a smile from Ruby. Fine, you can come along, as long as you don't hold me back, she smirks. A fell wind whistles through the perilous canyons, smelling of ancient decay and another sweeter smell. Storm clouds churn in the distance threateningly. Let's return here in 2 weeks, Andy says, carefully reloading his camera for the dozenth time since you've arrived. Before parting ways, the young reporter passes you the obsidian tablet he found last evening, stammering that he isn't much of a linguist. I'm not sure what any of it means, but these glyphs are all over the city. Maybe you'll have better luck with it. In your campaign log, record the expedition headed east. Choose an investigator to add the Ruby Standish story asset to their deck. It does not count toward deck size. This card can be found in the Expedition Encounter set, indicated by the following icon. Let's take a look at Ruby Standish. Let's see, she is in the Expedition Encounter set. No, she's not. I thought she was. I wonder if she was set aside. She is. There we are. Ruby Standish. 4 cost to play, 2 agility on commit. You get +1 agility. If there are no ready enemies at your location, exhaust Ruby Standish, move to a connecting location. Life's just one big score, and I plan to be the winner. Ooh, I could make an argument to give her to either of my investigators. This would help out with Lucius's... This would help with Lucius on his mobility for his Plumb the Depths. The problem is, both of them are already screaming for a charisma, because if you're looking at the deck lists if you're looking at the deck lists that are always in the description down below, they both already started with 2 allies, so they're both already screaming for a charisma. The question is, which investigator do I want to pour gasoline on that fire for? The 1 agility would help both of us out. Nathaniel's agility is crap at... Well, it's not very good at 2. Lucius already has an excellent excellent agility at 6. And he's got ways to dump that. So I'm actually going to give Ruby to Nathaniel. And the reason I'm giving Ruby to Nathaniel is because at least 2 of the upgrades for Lucius are going to be... Pathfinders. So he's already going to have ways to increase his mobility. But Nathaniel's agility really needs a boost. Let's see, where were we? Oh, yes. Proceed to Obsidian Canyons, page 32. That is where we're going to be going next week, but let's bring it back up top to wrap this scenario up. So, I'm just going to make a note here. Obsidian Canyons, 111. Okay, that's the scenario we're going into next week. As for what else we've got coming up on the channel, later this afternoon, we will be at Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, California, continuing my 2001 payoff pitch baseball season replay as the Oakland Athletics are taking on the Anaheim Angels. Tim Hudson is going for the Athletics, and Ramon Ortiz is going for the Angels. Wednesday, we're continuing my background campaign in Hero Realms. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will continue out of the official Frozen Cookbook as we're making the side, Certain Certainties Butter Braised Potatoes. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.